Welcome to Channel 24. My name is Nataliia Lutsenko and my guest today, Michael Sheitelman, political analyst. And we have quite a lot to unpack today. So welcome, Michael, and let's dive straight in.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, Nataliia.
So, Senator Lindsey Graham says that President Trump has given a green light to a bipartisan sanctions bill against Russia, and including punishment for countries buying cheap Russian oil like China, India, Brazil. Many experts once called this bill symbolic. What is your take on that?
It would be symbolic if it would be concluded without Trump decision. But now we are on absolutely another stage of relationship between Trump administration and, let's say, global South countries. The war which President Trump started last week, the war against Venezuela, de facto it is not the war only against one country, against Venezuela. And everybody who follow after this conflict could listen, for example, for State Department, and Marco Rubio said that the target was not Venezuela itself, but Russians in Venezuela, Hezbollah in Venezuela, Iranians in Venezuela, and Chinese in Venezuela. So generally only India was not mentioned. So we are on the stage, then United States started the global war. At this stage that is like mixed war, not only hot war, not only with weapon, but also with economic tools. And on this stage, President Trump is ready to put sanctions, real sanctions on India, on China, on Iran, and on all the countries who have a trade with Russia. And also President Trump now has the new tool, which is Venezuelan oil. He could exchange, for example, Indians want more oil. President Trump could sell them Venezuelan oil. So we are in absolutely another stage comparing to the autumn when this step by Congress could be only symbolic. Now it is very realistic.
So basically, with all these actions, the United States, they do want, that they have quite a different, interesting approach. At the same time, American president flattering Putin. But at the same time, he's hitting him, in the weakest spot. So do you think the American president actually, playing double game?
Yes, absolutely. He started it from 1 year ago, from his inauguration, when he said, wow, Mr. Putin, President Putin is my old friend. I know how to discuss with them everything. But he used every opportunity to hit Putin with sanctions. We remember the sanctions against Lukoil and Rosneft, which were the hottest and heaviest sanctions which were generally put on Russian Federation. And also we could mention all the strikes, the deep strikes to Russian territory by Ukrainian forces. But obviously all of these strikes, they are possible only with thanks to American intelligence services. And we also could mention the strikes to tankers in Black Sea near Turkish territory. Also, without American intelligence and intelligence in online format intelligence, Ukraine couldn't think tankers in the Russian tankers in Black Sea. And we could mention also the strike. One very special strike was exactly before the Christmas. It was a strike on oil refinery in Rostov region, and this is the biggest oil refinery in South Russia. And it was struck by Storm Shadow, the British missiles, Storm Shadow, and British missiles Ukrainian army could use only with permission from Pentagon, because they have some details from American producers, American manufacturers. And also, this strike was organized, I believe, it could be organized only with the Pentagon Commando. So yes, always Trump played this double game, which he put a pressure on Russian Federation on one hand and offered the deal on the other hand. But now, again, also in this sphere, we are in a new world, new reality from the beginning of this year. It is the first time when President Trump said that President Putin plays with him with all of these fairy tales about Ukrainian strike on President Putin residence, etc. And President Trump said that it was the fake news, and this fake news, it was not by media, it was from Putin personally. Putin lied to President Trump. So now it is the stage of pressure, and the heydays of Putin-Trump relationship, they are not ahead, they are in our past, obviously. And in this stage, we will see more and more pressure and not new offers to Russian president.
Well, that's nice to hear, Michael. Do you see that actually 2026 has the worst beginning for Russia comparatively to 2022, 2023?
Yes, in political field, obviously, and it was predictable. I could say predictable, not about Russia exactly, because Russia
Right.
not in the Russia. I'm sorry, it was interrupted. Okay, Russia is not in the center of the mind of mindset of President Trump. The business of President Trump not about Russia, but mostly about China and mostly about Iran, for example. And Russia, it is just like side effect of this war. And Venezuela and Iran and China are more important for Trump than Russian Federation. But in each of these cases, Russia suffers from this President Trump business. So 2026 is the most important year in all the political career of President Trump. Not only of his life, not. He had best days in the business and TV business and in development business, but in political life, it is the most important year. Because he is now very experienced president. He has his last term. It is very important that it is not his first, but the last term. And this is the last year when he has also Senate and also all the Congress of Republicans, and he has absolute freedom of any power, of any action. And in 2028, for example, it will be the last year, and he will deal with president elections. And now, the 2026, it is the year of, let's say, actions instead of plans, actions instead of threats. All that were threats in 2025 by Mr. Trump, I mean, and all that, all that he wrote in his social network in 2025, he will do that in physical world in 2026.
Yeah, right. Michael, do you have any sense and feeling that Russia is actually in desperate? Why I'm asking that right now? Because today I saw the article at Le Monde. It was reporting that Putin's envoy, Kirill Dmitriev, was spotted in Paris and received at the US embassy just, by coincidence at the days of coalition of the willing with the President Zelensky, European leaders, the American leaders with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. And I don't know, do you think it's just because Moscow is losing influence even in places like Paris, and that's why they were present there at the same time?
Well, interesting question is whose envoy is Mr. Dmitriev? Yes, obviously that officially he connected to Mr. Putin, but Putin now is just head of this iceberg. And obviously in Kremlin, we have different flanks, flanks which support war and flanks which support peace. And one of flanks, the representative of one of these flanks is Mr. Dmitriev. And he's not the leader of this flank, he's just the representative. And leaders, they sit in shadow in Kremlin. And the, let's say, representative of another flank is Mr. Lavrov, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Because all the rhetorics of Mr. Lavrov is war rhetorics, pro-war rhetorics and anti-peace rhetorics. And we could also pay attention that Mr. Putin, President Putin, disappeared starting from the last week of previous year. So today it is about 10 days. Then we did not see any appearance of public appearance of Mr. Putin. We couldn't mention his appearance in Christmas with Christmas tree, because obviously it was recorded before. So we never heard any reaction for Venezuela action from Mr. Putin. We never heard any reaction for Russian tanker seized in Atlantic Ocean by Mr. Putin. So we don't have any reaction from Mr. Putin, not for meeting in Paris, for example, of European coalition with Americans. So we don't know whose envoy Mr. Dmitriev. That is the first. But second, we don't know with whom he meets in Paris, because official French government, they noted that they not invited him. They not invited him to meet with not with President Macron, not with French government. They not invited him on any official level. And the only meeting he had was the meeting in American embassy. And we don't know exactly what is his business in the American embassy. It was not also proclaimed that it was the meeting with Steven Witkoff, for example, or Jared Kushner, with somebody in American embassy. So, Russians, they're in very tough situation now. This is the reason why Putin disappeared, obviously. And the two parties in Kremlin, let's say it is very... When I say two parties, this is not physical parties. This is not like Republicans and Democrats, yeah? But two different forces, one which wants a war and continuation of war, and another party which wants immediate peace. And obviously this action in Paris, it was the action of peace party, unnamed peace party. Till now, we don't know exactly who is the people who stays after this peace party. And we are not sure that action and this meeting by Kirill Dmitriev is the part of Mr. Putin action and Mr. Putin politics. This is the part of a peace party inside Kremlin meeting.
And also, speaking about France, President Macron today openly says that US is turning away from allies and abandoning the rules-based order, pointing to Venezuela, pointing to Greenland. Michael, it feels like the world is approaching a major turning point to me. Maybe the world is not approaching a third world war, but definitely a radical shift. Do you feel that?
About Third World War, it depends on many obstacles, let's say, because from formal point of view, if we just look at formal factors, we could see just yesterday decision by President Trump to increase war budget by 50% in 1 year, which is unprecedented increase. This kind of increase, for example, was in Russian Federation during this war. Each year, till the last year, they increased military budget by 50% per year. But last time it was this increase from 24 till 25, because now we don't have enough money to increase that. Their war budget is more than half of total budget of Russian Federation. For Americans, they have a huge gap. They have a huge opportunity to increase this budget. And by the way, our favorite journalist, I could call his ironically journalist, Tucker Carlson, said that this decision by Mr. Trump looks like the start of Third World War III. Because if you increase this increase, you understand, this increase is $500 billion. I mean, only this part of increase of the military budget of United States, which is 4 times more than all the military budget of Russian Federation, for example. Only increase, not only the delta.
Not the total number,
Yeah.
right? Just, yeah.
Yeah. Not the total number. Just this delta is 4 times more than total military budget of Russian Federation. This, by the way, this delta is twice Russian budget. All the Russian budget. I mean, not military. All for society, for silence, for everything. So this is very, very tough and hard step by President Trump. So he is ready. He said, "I am ready to work for free. Do you want war for free, or you want a negotiation, or you want a deal?" And obviously, his offer is not towards Russian Federation now, but towards China. Last year, he negotiated with China, and he lost this negotiation. Mm-hmm. He started with tariffs, and he did the step back. And and on this stage, he decided to start with some satellites of China, with Venezuela, in Iran, by the way. By the way, when we have a conversation today, I am not sure that in 1 week, when we will have a next conversation, we will have an Ayatollah regime in Iran. Nobody knows, but today we have also rumors that the second biggest city of Iran are now captured by opposition. I don't know if it is true or not, because when we speak about information from inside Iran, it is very difficult to say and very difficult to check is it fake news or real news. But he started this war. But we remember Cold War, for example. At this stage, it is mostly Cold War. But President Trump says, and not only says, but makes steps, which means that, I'm ready also to the hot war. Are you ready, dear Chinese, or not? That's a question.
Yeah, right. Yeah, when you said that the last year Trump had to step back from China, that's another time when I'm quite sure that Chinese people are the best negotiators. They are the best diplomats. We have to give them the credit, to be honest.
Chinese diplomacy, this is absolutely another style than American or any Western style. And Chinese diplomacy based mostly on Tao Te Ching book and to Western people. And President Trump is he's the champion of Western style negotiation as a person who came from traditional Western business. So it is difficult to make the connection between Chinese and Americans. And you could see that, for example, President of France, by the way, Macron, he is trying to be the middleman between Americans and Chinese. He visited China this year. He visited China last year also. And when he came back from China, he said, now we have a cards. Immediately when he came back from China. So here, European diplomacy, by the way, could have very positive effect on this negotiation, I believe.
And you said about Putin that he has disappeared, but what shocked me no, it's not shocked me, but just I was negatively impressed that Putin was acting, I don't know, blasphemous on January 7, appears at the Orthodox Christmas service. And he was telling soldiers that they're killing Ukrainians in the name of God, or just that was the God's order. How actually, do you think that was the message to the inner audience, how the West should read that message from Russian dictator?
This message was not to the West. This message exactly from Christmas tree was not to the West, but to the inner audience, to the people of Russian Federation, and to inner cycle also, that we will continue. I am not stopping. I am not going to make peace with Americans. This was a message. And very interesting that all last years, last decade, each year, Then Putin appeared on the Christmas, near Christmas tree. He appeared with the same guy. And this guy is city major of Moscow, Sobyanin. His surname Sobyanin, I don't remember the first name. Sergei Sobyanin, city major of Moscow. I believe it is more than 10 years tradition. Every year, Putin and Sobyanin, they a couple who goes to Christmas tree. And this is the first year then he appears with military men and not with Sobyanin. So first, he is not in Moscow. He does not have Sobyanin nearby. But it is not the problem to bring Sobyanin, obviously, by private jet. But not. This is when you appear near Sobyanin, the Moscow is the peace city of peace, city of festivals, city of social life, of some theaters, etc. No. You will not have any social life. You will not have any festivals and cinemas. You will have a war, says Putin to his people. And when I say his people, I mean also 130 million Russians who lives in Russia, and I mean also the close circle of 1,000 people, let's say, in Kremlin. So that was the message, not towards West. And towards West, all the messages he gave during December. In December, he appeared 3 times in military uniform. That is an interesting point, because before 2025, he never appeared in military uniform. His first appearance in military uniform was in spring 2025. First time in his life it was, yeah. Putin, who is president of Russian Federation 25 or 26 years. And during this year, he appeared about 5 times. 3 out of these 5, it was in December. So it was the message to Europeans, it was the message to Americans that I continue the war and I'm the winner and I'm going to military victory, and I don't want any negotiation with you. That's it.
Okay, now my puzzle is clicked. And, let's get back to Trump and all this talking about not only Venezuela, of course, but then Greenland. All these questions about capturing Greenland with force is no longer, sounds rhetoric. Because if we could speak with you like 3 weeks ago, probably we would not see, any military outcome of Donald Trump's threats. So could Trump actually try to take Greenland by force? And actually, would Denmark be able to defend it?
Well, it is, 1 year ago, we had the same situation almost. In February, March, there were a lot of rhetorics by Trump and his team about Greenland. And in April, I believe, there was a decision by Security Council of United States. It is not so famous organization, but Trump has this formal board by Security Council of United States. And they decided that they will not capture Greenland with force, but they will start a campaign, pro-American campaign inside Greenland to persuade local people to ask from Denmark to independence and to join United States. And they will promise, for example, to develop tourism inside Greenland by American tourists, etc., all of these stories. So I did not believe them, and I personally checked it. I went to Greenland last summer, to Nuuk, which is the capital city of Greenland, and I checked everything, and I had a lot of conversation with local people in Greenland. And it is not so easy to capture this place by American forces. First of all, in the middle of Nuuk, they have the NATO bases. This is not American bases. American bases in the northern Greenland, they don't have local population. The local population mostly in Nuuk, in the capital city. Afterwards, they have some Nordic command by Denmark military forces, and just today they received the new command that they will use weapon immediately if they will see American soldiers. so they will start war. And there are a lot of details, but in Greenland, most of people, they don't speak English. They don't speak English. They speak Danish. They speak local
Local language, yes.
Inuit language, yeah. But about 30% of population were Danish people, not Inuits. 70% Inuits, 30% Danish. And everybody in school, they study Danish language. And everybody knows Danish language. And for example, I bought the T-shirt in local store from local young people. And the T-shirt, which is with title, Greenland is not for sale. But I never met any T-shirt, Greenland is US, Greenland is part of United States of America. So it is very long, it is very long process. You can't capture country when all the population will be against that. And by the way, last year, I don't remember, in May, I believe, there were elections to the Parliament of Greenland. They have Parliament of Greenland Autonomy. And 6 parties, they formed the new parliament. And only one of these parties, by the way, with the smallest representation in the parliament, were pro-American. And 5 out of 6 were anti-American parties. So it means that currently the local population were anti-Americans. So I believe more not in a military scenario. I believe more that, that next week they start negotiation between the State Department of United States and the Danish government. And I believe that they will have some compromise, like, for example, to increase military base or to give the opportunities to, to drill oil in Greenland or something like that. And by the way, today, I met very interesting news from European diplomacy. Somebody said in some source, I don't remember, that what they want to offer to Americans, the formula is security for security. We Europeans, we are ready to give more opportunities to Americans inside Greenland to build military bases, but you Americans, you participate more in security forces in Ukraine. This is the new formula for negotiation for the next week. This is very interesting.
Seriously? That's an interesting angle of everything.
Yeah, it's just from today's news. Just a couple of hours ago, I heard that, yeah.
Well, we'll see. And I was just recalling the moment when first Trump put his eye on Greenland. And the Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen, she was quite in silence for a few days. I remember maybe for 24 hours, she was not replying immediately. And I thought when she's going to go to public, to the press, she's going to sound quite emotional, like this is put your hands out off our island and everything. And she was so peaceful, saying, listen, Greenland is not for sale. That's up to Greenland people to decide. So I don't think that there is any sign that somehow Greenland will agree through soft power to join the United States. So right.
Europeans, they make a great job to support Denmark, by the way. Last summer, also, President Macron visited Greenland, and it was I believe, the first visit of any European leader to Greenland, because you don't have what to do in Greenland generally. Right. This is the place of 50,000 people. I mean, not the city, all the island, which is 2 million square kilometers. Greenland is 3 times bigger than Ukraine, by the way, Greenland. And the biggest city, Nuuk, is about 20,000 people. So President Macron visited that. And now, just during this week, on different levels, for example, today's Prime Minister of Belgium said that we will help to Denmark to organize the defense of Greenland, the defense of Greenland. That is very interesting also. And by the way, with all of these rhetorics from Mr. Trump, Greenland does not have any connectivity with United States. You can't fly from United States to Greenland. You can fly to Greenland only from two countries, from Denmark and from Ireland, which is the former Denmark colony. That's it. So that is very important.
Unless you have a private jet like J.D. Vance.
Exactly, not J.D. Vance. On a private jet, it was private jet of the Mr. President Trump, and his son Donald Trump Jr. He arrived to this
Donald Trump
airport.
Jr. Right.
J.D. Vance with military plane. He visited Greenland, but he does not visit the Nuuk, the capital city. He visited only military base with military plane. Yeah.
You know, I was watching polls in the United States in the morning, and which show that almost 90% Americans do not understand why American president captured Maduro, why he has entered Venezuela, and less than 8% of Americans think that Venezuela was a real threat to the United States. So it's such a nonsense happening.
Well, nobody is so deep in big politics, but Venezuela, it was really the basis for all kind of terrorists, all kind of narco traders, and this is true. This is true. And in Venezuela, for example, when we just give one more glance towards Russian Federation, they're one of closest friends of President Putin, Mr. Sechin, who is the head of Rosneft, the state-owned oil company which is under Mr. Trump sanctions. He has the huge activities in Venezuela, and he has a plan to fly to Venezuela in the case when regime of Putin collapse. And this is very well known. And he spent a lot of time in Venezuela. Also, Mr. Patrushev spent a lot of time in Venezuela, the former chief of Security Council of Russian Federation. So Russians were very well established in Venezuela, and they helped to Venezuelans to sell cocaine to Europe. And that is true. And J.D. Vance today, for example, he said very funny statement that President Trump does not like cocaine. And that is the problem of Venezuela. President Trump does not like cocaine. And Russians, they are the main route of Venezuelan cocaine towards Europe. Russian diplomats and Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russian Federation. And this is the Russian-Venezuelan connection. It is the thing which I know because I followed that, yeah? But I never followed, for example, Iran-Venezuela connections, and I believe it is also huge. I just know less because I'm not specialist in this. But by the way, Belarus, they also have military base in Venezuela, and they sell their counter missiles to Venezuela, and Lukashenko visited Venezuela a lot of times. Lukashenko, he does not have a lot of countries to visit in the world, because most of countries, they not recognize him as president of Belarus, but Venezuela, yes. Venezuela, yes, it is also. So, Venezuela now, it is like island Tortuga from Pirate of Caribbean movie. So this is like anarchy place, and all kind of gangsters, they have a basis in Venezuela.
So people who are saying that Russia is seriously losing its world presence and world power, considering Syria, Venezuela, and probably, as you said, Iran, that actually it's true.
Today I received also some news from Israel. I can't have any official proof for that, but it is very widespread that Russian diplomats, they leave now embassy in Israel. They leave embassy in Israel, and they leave it towards Russia. And why it could happen?
Yeah.
when
Why?
they fear that the regime in Iran could fall each day. By the way, Russians now sent some jets to uh, take the gold, the real gold bars from Iran, from Tehran to Moscow. And if the regime in Iran falls, so immediately some Iranian leaders, they will be like Maduro in hands of Americans. And in this case, Israel security forces and Israel intelligence service, they will know who exactly from the Russian embassy is Iranian agents. And I believe almost everybody is Iranian agent.
Yeah.
I mean, Russian diplomats in Israel were Iranian agents, obviously. And in this case, they couldn't leave Israel. So they now in hurry.
Could this also, everything that happening, Trump's decisions, could this be also about shifting attention from something very important? And you know what I mean? I mean Epstein files.
Well, I never believed that Epstein files or any information inside Russian Federation could gather President Trump. Because when you are president of United States, any compromising materials in another countries where they have zero importance for you. Because you have CIA, you are the owner of this world, and you are most powerful people in the person in the world. So it doesn't matter for you. When you are a businessman, could I believe that he was the agent of KGB, for example? Theoretically, yes. Why not? Why not? But when you are a businessman, when you just build some buildings inside Manhattan, when it is risk for you, then you have some compromise in Moscow. But when you are president of United States, it doesn't matter. You could say, no, it is bullshit. It is from some Russian security forces, some Russian intelligence service, and you don't care about that. So I don't believe in this fairy tale that Trump somehow depends on Putin on this case. He depends on Putin maybe as a biggest, the country with the biggest nuclear weapon arsenal. Yeah. This is the factor, but not some pictures of Epstein or something like that. Pictures of Epstein, they are important only if they stored inside the United States. Because if it is stored inside the United States, it is stored by all the standards, all the high standards of American courts. And what is come from Russia, it is always, you could say, this is fake. That's it. No, I don't accept it.
Well, I thought that the American government was maybe protecting its own billionaires who were on that pictures, who probably having something illegal, sexual connections with kids and everything that they were accused for. And I thought probably they were like, okay, let's do this. Let's go to capture Nicolas Maduro like it was, blockbuster movie. So which was like that, obviously. So, I thought it could be as an option to draw attention.
Well, the most important now is midterm election for Mr. Trump, and
Absolutely.
Also President Trump said this week, that he has this risk to be how we could call that new Congress. If the new Congress will not be Republican Congress, so we could impeach President Trump, and he said that openly just this week, and obviously this capture of Maduro is the starting of a campaign to midterm election.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, I think we covered a lot of topics today. So I thank you so much for your time, for your insight. It was super interesting to me. And see you next week.
Yeah, thank you, Natalie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.